Welcome back to Sports Talk Weekend. I'm Doug Eberhardt, getting a chance to sit in once again, and I'm very excited about our next guest, kids. And you can tell from the haunting synthesizer and piano of The Who's Baba O'Reilly that this guest has lovely taste as well. So, she's a young lady probably that travels more than anyone I know on the face of the earth. Amy Jo Martin, she's with a company called Digital Royalty, based down in Phoenix, but her address seems to be on a plane somewhere most of the time. She's an ASU grad, so we know she didn't pay much attention in school, if that's the case. She worked in advertising, got into digital media doing amazing things with the Phoenix Suns, and then later started Digital Royalty, a company that works with companies, celebrities, professional sports leagues, teams, athletes, etc., to measure, monetize, and build their whole digital universe. Welcome to Sports Talk Weekend, Amy Jo.
Thank you for having me on, Doug. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome, and I've been very excited about this just because not only are you digital royalty in terms of your company, but digital royalty on Twitter and throughout the social media landscape. And I guess the first thing I really want to know is, how does social media, and especially Twitter, but also Facebook, YouTube, etc., how does it provide such an ideal platform for pro athletes, teams, and organizations that you work with?
Well, a lot of different aspects of social media are beneficial to celebrities or high-profile individuals, but just any brand in general. It really allows human beings to show their actual personality and day-to-day lifestyle and really connect, because humans connect with humans. They don't connect with logos, and it's difficult for brands to be social, but as we well know, human beings are very social. So when it comes to the celebrity aspect, it's wonderful because they have a bridge to their fans and can use their own words and really connect with them on an ongoing basis.
And speaking of connecting on that personal level, I mentioned the amount of travel you seem to do all the time, and I know earlier this evening you flew back from L.A., back to Phoenix, and were taking part in Baron Davis's All-Star Kickball game and charity fundraiser. What type of stuff were you doing with Baron Davis in L.A. for this event?
Well, this was the second one that I have attended. Baron is a friend of mine, and I was just helping him tell the story virtually because, he has a large following and fan base on Twitter as well as Facebook and other social platforms. But really it was cool because what he does is every year gets some friends together, celebrity friends, to participate in his kickball tournament benefiting the Rising Stars of America charity that he has. And I was just helping him explain what was going on throughout the day, really showing the activities, and he had a lot of support out there today from other NBA players as well as various celebrities. And it was great. The response was wonderful. Everybody that was following along online was able to see through live video. We used tout.com to share just snippets of what was going on and engage and feel like they were there. It's a big initiative of his to make sure that he's, definitely staying relevant during this time period, this kind of situation here, as well as, the other NBA players. They have a choice right now to decide if they want to stay connected and to kind of share what they're doing during this situation or not. And everyone out there today was. So it was great. It was a great cause.
And you mentioned stay involved. With the lockout, is it even more important for, say, NBA players to make their presence known, to reinforce their brand through Twitter and other social media?
Absolutely. Even more so now than ever during this time when, it's a great opportunity for them to expose what they're doing right now and, how they're giving back or how they're spending their time, and really show, the person behind these personalities and what defines them outside of their career, out of the sport. And it's a great way to stay relevant and connect with fans on another level outside of the NBA and what fans are used to when it comes to their brand.
Well, I don't think you can beat a Sunday afternoon of kickball kids, ice cream, and celebs. Kicking it for the greater good, I believe, is what you said earlier this afternoon.
A verbatim tweet, exactly. Yeah, it was a wonderful day. It really was. Great weather, too. And, everybody, the world has changed. Events like this now, the conversation and the buzz is, okay, what's the hashtag? And, what's this person's Twitter account name? I want to make sure that I get it right. And so when the celebrities are catching on and they understand the value, you know that social media has really come a long way. It didn't used to be that way 3 years ago or 4 years ago when, I was just getting started. But now the importance is there, and it's crucial that everybody uses this bridge to communicate. It's not about advertising or marketing. It's about communication and how you decide to use it.
Well, you mentioned 3 years ago, so that kind of leads me to wonder, how has your work with athletes and teams changed over the last few years as the media platforms and the technology have advanced and become so accepted? What's been the biggest change over that time period for you?
The biggest change would be, early on, most traditional kind of stick and ball type sports teams and leagues were really playing not to lose versus playing to win, meaning they knew that this was something that they had to adopt, and these new communication tools were here, the numbers were growing, and there was a lot of hesitancy in the beginning, but some of the most popular teams and leagues have really embraced it well. The NBA has done a great job. It's come a long way. And the athletes, of course, are all starting to get it and understand the value. And now it's really about education. So I've been kind of, really preaching the same thing from the very beginning, is that everybody needs to be educated on how to use these channels, because it's very powerful. And everybody in that realm receives traditional media education and training, and it's just as important, if not more, for them to also understand how the world of social media works and be trained in that area as well.
We're talking with Amy Jo Martin. She's the CEO and founder of Digital Royalty, and not only does she help athletes on Twitter and social media, she has approximately 1.3 million of her own followers on Twitter, and if you want to check her out, she's at Amy Jo Martin, all together, one word. That is her handle on Twitter. Now, Amy, one of the other things, maybe you could take us back just a little bit. You said how the NBA has been one of the leagues that's really embraced Twitter and social media. Maybe take us back to when you were just starting out, when you hooked up with the Phoenix Suns as their director of digital media and started working with Steve Nash and Shaquille O'Neal and having events such as the NBA's first tweet up and all those sort of things. How maybe you could just take us back to how you got together with the Phoenix Suns and some of the work you did there.
Absolutely. Well, I've worked in some capacity in pro sports pretty much all of my career with a variety of different leagues and teams. And when I started working for the Phoenix Suns, it was important for them to be able to connect with fans at every level. And so it was back I'd say about 3 years ago when Twitter wasn't even popular yet. And I remember walking into a revenue meeting. Every Wednesday morning we'd have our revenue meetings, and the team president, Rick Welts, was in there, and, Steve Kerr, the GM, and everybody would give their report. We had, this big conference room table. And it came around to me one day, and I said, I want to plan a tweet up. And this was back when that word, Twitter, was just kind of that annoying word that nobody really knew what it was, but it kept coming up a little bit more often. And I kind of joke now, but if I had, a follower for every time a CEO or a company leader kind of rolled their eyes at me when I said the word Twitter, I'd probably be Lady Gaga right now with 11.7 million followers. But they stuck with me. They asked the questions, of course. It's like, okay, here she comes. She's on this Twitter kick again. And, of course, it's a revenue meeting. So I had to explain how I was going to generate revenue, which was through, of course, ticket sales, and later led on to sponsorship opportunities. And, the next question was, okay, well, how do you know anybody's going to buy tickets to this type of an experience? And the answer was, well, I've already asked them, and hundreds have responded, and they're ready to buy now. They want to buy their tickets. So, the fans helped plan the event. It was the first of its kind for sure. It was an experiment, but really listening to the Phoenix Suns fans and how wonderful they were as far as giving feedback, and then activating and experimenting, and then listening to the response again and really working with them. It was a two-way conversation. And kind of repeating and refining that process is what has developed best practices in my world, and that's what, led to building digital royalty. We do a lot of stunts with our clients, celebrities and corporate brands, as well as sports teams and leagues. And, our belief is that bridging the virtual world with the physical world is where it's at. That's where the magic is in terms of bringing social media into a relatable and kind of tangible sense. And that's what we were doing today. It was just telling the story virtually. And I had the luxury of being at the Women's World Cup final last Sunday. I guess that was a week ago today. It's hard to believe, but same thing. I was with Nike, and they get it. It's all about sharing the experience and kind of showing what fans couldn't see on TV and being there live present and offering that value really when, where, and how the audience wants to receive it, because they're in the driver's seat.
My goodness, actually having the audience relate to a product and or team or person, you're doing crazy work, Amy.
It's great. It's humanizing the brands, whether it's DoubleTree by Hilton that we work with, who you would just think, okay, corporate brand, but they've really been progressive and have adopted the strategies to humanize their brand and expose the personalities behind that logo. It's what it's about.
It is indeed what it's about. We're talking with Amy Jo Martin, and we're here on Sports Talk Weekend. We're going to take a quick break and get some commercials in, and we'll be right back after these messages.